Hello and welcome to Running Your Stories episode 8. This time we're talking with Howard Dracup about his experience as being a race director for the first time. Howard tells us his story about how he got into running, the lifestyle changes that it made for him, how he got really motivated, some of the fantastic races that he's been involved in, and then talks about his experience this weekend at the Whitworth Marathon, which was his event with support from Team OA. So without further ado, let's start chatting with Howard. Thank you.
So welcome, Howard.
Oh, you alright?
Yeah, welcome along to Running Your Stories.
You.
Looking forward to having a chat with you because on Sunday I was over there helping you out a bit. You were race director for the first time at, what's the name of your event?
The Whitworth Trail Marathon.
Yeah, it was a good event. We'll go into that. So we've been starting off these podcasts getting a bit of background from people, a bit of your story about running, how you got into it and where you started from. So want to share a little?
Begin with that. I started running about, I'm guessing, I think about 5 years now, but for the first maybe 2 or 3 years they weren't consistent runs. I used to go to the gym and lift weights a lot, so maybe once or twice a week instead of doing cardio in the gym. I just used to either get up early in the morning or after work and not go to the gym. I just used to do a bit of a run. It could be anything from 2 to 3 mile up to 5 or 6 mile.
Yep.
And then so I kind of did that for 2 or 3 years, and then I joined a running club, Royton Road Runners, after doing a park run. I think that's how everybody starts off running, don't they?
We love the park runs.
Yeah, I got introduced to park run, and then it just kind of took off from there. I started when I used to train, when I used to gym, I just used to run on the hills. I just used to enjoy being up on the hills. I just used to being outside, up off the streets. And then when it'd be winter time, I'd kind of train on the roads. So that's how it went for 2 or 3 years. And then after I'd done the park run and I kind of got into running a bit more seriously, I kind of started running more off-road, and that's where it progressed from there. So that's how I kind of got into it.
So your off-road running, was that trail running, fell running?
Yeah, it was just the local area Whitworth, where I'm from. It's just a dead nice area. It's full of trails, fells. I'd say it's more fell running.
Yeah.
So I kind of doing that at first, but I didn't know it was fell running. I just used to go running.
Yeah.
Because that was my environment that I could train in. It's only when I started enjoying the running and getting into it more seriously that I found out about fell running, trail running, mountain running, ultra running. all the different kinds of running. So yeah.
Yeah, so from running, what you say, sort of 5-7 miles, I know that you got into some bigger events because that's how we got to know each other, training for a big event that we did earlier this year, yeah. But so what was your path from just...
Yeah, so I kind of deviated from the first question that you asked me. So I started off by doing small mileage.
Yes.
Just instead of gym work, and then I had I had a really unhealthy lifestyle. I won't go into too much detail, but I was kind of going out all the time and stuff. And one day I just thought, I'll just go on a long run. I just thought I'll just go on a long run on a Saturday morning, see how far I can go. So I remember putting, I think I had some Asics road running shoes, and I had some Asics tights. It was winter time, and a North Face waterproof jacket, and a North Face backpack, and a night cap. So I set off with all my mismatched running gear on. Just set off out of my door. I didn't even have a running watch. I just had Strava on my mobile, on my iPhone. So I put that in my pocket, set it off, and I didn't even know how far a marathon was. So I thought, right, a marathon 25 mile, I'll go and do 25 mile. I thought a marathon was 25, not 26.3 or whatever it is. So I set off out the door. I did the 25 mile in 5 hours. Bearing in mind I'd only ever done 5 miles prior to that.
Yep.
It was all off-road up on the hills, and I absolutely loved it. But when I got in that night, I was that tired I couldn't be bothered going out. So like the following week, I thought to myself, you need to do that again because it stopped you from going out. Like you was that tired, and you kind of like felt good after it the day after and fresh, and you could kind of like, you lost weight off it as well. I thought, you know what, I need to, you know, I'll have another go at doing this. So I did it again and failed like epically because I'm not used to running like 2 weeks on the bounce doing marathon distance. I think I did about 8 or 9 mile and like quit, like I was just aching all over. And that's kind of like how I got into doing the longer stuff. Like I just kind of did one, loved it, and then just kept trying to do more. Even though I failed the second week, I just like kept on trying to do a bit more and a bit more. And I think my first long race, it would have been Dent half marathon, I think it was, which was about 14 mile, and I did really well. I think I did it, I think it was like under 7.5 minute miles, which is a hell of a lot faster than what I run now. So that was like my first long run, Dent half marathon.
I found race. I found similar actually as well. As I've got into the what I think of as the really long distance stuff, I haven't got any faster.
No,
it doesn't mean to say I can't, you know, I might still get a faster 10k PB or whatever, but it's not, it's just kind of, I think it's similar to me.
Yeah, you don't tend to go for the speed anymore now. It's like all about distance from
the yeah, you know, you've got enough speed, you can just, the trick really is just to keep on going.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just see how long you can go for.
Yeah. So yeah, from your half marathon.
From that half marathon, I then did the Manchester Essex Marathon. I was a bit disappointed with that one because I wanted a sub 4 hour finish, and I think I did it in like 4 hours and 2 minutes. But what had happened is I just set off way too fast. I'd not got a proper training plan. I just kind of winged it, you know. I just thought I'll finish it, so I set off way too quick, and I was actually walking by mile 17, and 2 weeks prior to that I think I'd like ran too far too fast. So you learn from your mistakes, don't you? So I did I think I did 22 or 23 mile 2 weeks to 3 weeks before it, which now I wouldn't think it's anything out of the ordinary. It's probably about the right thing to do, but because I was only a beginner marathon runner, maybe I should have done a little less and not tried to run it as fast. So I actually, the 2 weeks before the marathon, I think I put my marathon effort into that run. So like by 16, 17 miles I was walking, I was struggling. I really put myself off. So I got to the end, a bit disappointed in myself, and I said never again. The day after, I went and booked on the Liverpool Rock and Roll Marathon, and that one was a success. I'd finished that one in 3 hours 45 or 3 hours 44, so I was quite chuffed with that one then. I'm trying to think what was after the Rock and Roll. That would have been in about April. I think as we keep chatting, I'll be subconsciously thinking in it, which was the next one.
I was just thinking, I think they're both road marathons.
They're both road marathons, I've not done any kind of distance.
I jumped in at the deep end and I went straight into a trail marathon. So I've never run a sub 4 hour marathon. I'm quite confident I can.
You definitely.
But because the only road marathon I've done is the Huddersfield one, which has got a few hills in it. Yeah. And I'd spent 2 weeks travelling to America and Asia on business. Right. Got back on the Saturday morning, ran it on the Sunday morning. Right. So I didn't get my sub 4 hour yet.
But that was hard work.
It was.
I think my next long run after that, and it's a bit of a long. There must be something in the middle, but I can't think what it would be. But my next long run after that would have been the Tour de Helvellyn, which is when I transitioned from being a road runner to kind of deciding that I love mountain running, if you know what I mean. Yes. So I used to train at a gym in Rochdale called Vance's. One of my friends there, Dave, he was already like well into ultra running. He's done races in Borneo. He's won them. So we're kind of telling him in the changing rooms that I'd just done these marathons, and he's like, oh, why don't you come on one of these ultra marathons with me? So I'm like, how far is it? And he said 38 miles. So straight away I said, oh no. He said, honestly, you'll be right, if you can do a marathon you can do this, just slow down. But then he started telling me about, you've got to be able to map read, you've got to be able to like use a compass, you've got to carry all this kit. And straight away I was like, oh god, like I was panicking a little bit, but like something was enticing me towards doing it. So I went on a couple of training runs with him, went up to the Lake District, we recce'd the route, and I recce'd it enough to be able to enter the race and feel confident that I could do it without reading a map. Even though I carried a map and a compass, if I would have got lost, I wouldn't have been able to. I probably could have found my way, but if it got dark and it got really foggy and I had to read, like, take a bearing, I wouldn't have been able to find my way. Do you know what I mean? So race day came and I DNF'd. It was my first DNF. I had a dodgy knee. I was having a bit of knee trouble, and I took some tramadol on the morning before we set off. I started feeling a bit of pain mid-race, so I took another one, and about an hour after that I just felt completely sick, like sick to the stomach, and I don't know whether it was like extreme fatigue because I'd never done a race on that scale before, or whether it was a tramadol, because initially I blamed it on the tramadol. So I was like climbing up, it's called Rays Beck, it's from the A59 something it is near Dunmail Rays. You go up Rays Beck, and I got halfway up it and I just felt sick and dizzy, and I thought, I'm gonna have to pull out. So I walked all the way to the bottom again, got to the bottom and felt fine, so I had another go, so I got halfway up again, and I thought, no, I just felt physically sick, so I thought, right, it's a tablet, so I'll pull out. And then a couple of more ultra marathons down the line, I've experienced this complete feeling of sickness again, and I think it's sheer fatigue, but I've overcome that now. I don't get it anymore. So I put my first DNF down to having tramadol, but looking from knowing what I know now, I think it might have just been beginner's bug type thing.
Well, there's a friend of mine, in every ultra he does, he throws up. He gets to a certain point, his stomach goes, and he throws up. And
it affects people
he usually makes
it
to the end, but he sometimes DNFs because of it.
I've
only seen him do it once, but
I think it's just overexertion, when you've like there's some steep climbs in these races, isn't there?
There is part of it.
If you've been a road runner prior to that, then you're not used to this. It's a big shock to the system.
I think part of it as well is when your body starts switching over between burning carbs and burning fats. That switch over point, I think.
It could be.
Again, it's when you get into that real sort of the distance that you're not used to, and the exertion, that there's all kinds of changes go on in your
factors,
body. And they affect everybody differently, and depending on, like you say, what you've been doing that week and what you've eaten, and then taking some tablets that you're not used to taking is not going to help.
A combo of everything. So I DNF'd miserably on that one, and then, like you say, straight away then I got back to the event centre, and I just remember eating some soup, bread. I felt really sick still, but I was still eating the food, hoping that it'd make me feel better. And up on the TV screens in the event centre, on this big 60-inch TV screen or whatever it was, DNF'd, and there was like 3 names, and my name was one of them, and I was just like, I just felt like an absolute loser. So I was thinking the day after, what can I do? Like, I can't wait another year to have another go at one of these races. So I booked on another one of the that event, the Tour de Helvellyn. It's organised by a company called Nav4 Adventure. They also do a race called LM42, Lakes Mountain 42. It's more elevation, and it's 4 miles longer or something. And that was like about 4 months after the Tour de Helvellyn. So I thought, right, I need to book on that. So I booked on that. I cracked that one. Then I did the Calderdale Way 50. Smashed that one. And then I did I did LM42, Oldham Way Ultra. Smashed that one. I won't say I smashed them, but when I say smash them, I got through them.
Yeah, well, the smashing something's about meeting your expectations, or beating your expectations, isn't it? It's not, doesn't necessarily mean you beat anybody else or beat the
in my eyes, I finished.
Well, exactly. If that's what you've set out to do, you've smashed it. So.
Especially when I've DNF'd a few times and been unhappy with my last races prior to that. So I finished the Oldham Way Ultra, I finished LM42, I finished Calderdale Way. I was on a bit of a roll then. I did the Ben Nevis, the Salomon Ben Nevis Ultra in Scotland. That was 120k. I was one of the only 28 finishers that did it within the allowed cut-off time out of 101 people that started.
So I hope by this time you'd learned how to map read.
Yeah, I'd learned to map read, but luckily this one, it was a fully marked course, this one, so I couldn't go wrong.
Yeah, it's not the kind of area where you want to get lost.
To get lost, yeah. So I did really well in that, in my eyes. I mean, 26th or 27th overall is not anything to really brag about, but I was just so happy to be one of the finishers.
Absolutely.
Because it was like an 18-hour cut-off. I did it in
Yeah.
17 hours 55. It even caught some of the... there was a lot of people on the website that was like... Scottish international runners and stuff like that, saying that I can't believe that, you know, that you give us these cut-off times, and everyone was in uproar at the cut-off times and they hadn't made it, and I was just like absolutely buzzing that I'd managed to make it within 5 miles. It was my kind. It was like my kind of. It was very wet, very boggy, very cold, and this was in September, so a lot of people had set off expecting it to be a dead dry, fast runnable course. It was really tough, stuck in the mud type thing, very boggy, and I just danced through it all and finished. I did all right. So I finished that one, and then the next big race after that then was the Spine. So I'd had all these brilliant races, and I kind of like strategically, I'd not entered the Spine yet, but every race I did, so I did the Oldham Way, which was 40, Calderdale Way was 50, Ben Nevis Ultra 75. I was jumping up a level every time, finishing off with the Spine. 100 and was it meant to be 108 or 112? 112.
Well, it's written as 108, and then they moved the finish to Hardrow, so it's 110.
Yeah.
And then
my God, got to 118.
Well, then they added diversions.
Yeah.
And so the diversions added more distance. Mine came out about 115, I think.
Yeah, about 118. You had a bit of a discrepancy, aren't you?
Yeah.
Between different brands of watches, but a lot of the race as well, I kept my... Well, not a lot of it, but I'd say maybe 1/3 of it I kept it in my pack because it was on charge.
Yeah.
I
was just tracking mine on my phone. You know, like you say, when you called yourself a kind of a novice and you didn't
have you not got a watch yet?
No, I haven't got a watch yet.
You're not a proper runner.
Exactly. Yeah. I haven't got an expensive enough watch. I was looking at one on special offer today though.
Yeah, treat yourself. Why not? So then I was kind of had a roll on all these other races, and then the Spine was like a big shock to the system. I'd kind of like, I should have, after the Ben Nevis Ultra, kind of just had a good like a recovery.
Yeah. When was that?
That was in September the 16th or the 15th. So we had September, October, November, December.
Yeah, I was just thinking because I think I first met you in November because you were helping out with the White Rose.
That's when I first met you. Yeah,
that was my first ultra.
Yeah. Yeah. You did well there.
Yeah. So I think you were a bit. You had a bit of an injury.
I had a bit of an injury then, because that's
then.
why I was helping out.
Yeah.
What had happened is, after the Ben Nevis Ultra, I went to Turkey for a week. I give it a week before I did any running, so I had a bit of a run over there. I came home, and on the day I came home, I went for a run up from Milnrow, Rochdale. I ran along the canal and up Blackstone Edge Road towards the White House. There was a bit of a climb up there. Yeah. Going up there, I could just feel a bit of a niggle in the top of my foot and going up my shin. Didn't think much of it. It kept getting worse and worse and worse as the run progressed. I think I did about 12 mile. I ran over Blackstone Edge and then down to Hollingworth Lake, back along the canal. I was limping a little bit on the way home. Then the day after, I was fine. It was weird. It kind of went, and then I got some new trainers. So I went out for a run. I ran quite fast for myself. I don't really run fast that often. So I went for a bit of a speedy run, and the day after, I just had a really sharp... It was like... I was definitely injured. I was limping. I couldn't even walk, and I'd done something. I got bad tendonitis up the... It's called your tibialis anterior tendon up there.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was in my left or my right leg. So that kind of like put me out for a couple of weeks. And that's when I think I bumped into you then at the White Rose Ultra. Yeah. So I give it a bit of a rest, and then slowly started training again. But it was always there niggling. It just didn't seem to go. But I didn't want to stop completely running either. So it was allowing me to run, but the problem just wasn't disappearing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then that obviously led to having issues in the Spine race later on. Like, I thought it had gone, but it was just lying there ready to come back to bite me in the bum.
Yeah, and I'm sure we could have a very long chat comparing notes about how miserable that Sunday night was. Because I was in pieces as well.
Yeah, I was a broken man after that.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, that's like
that was a tough night.
You are.
That was a tough night.
Yeah. I think I just beat the bad weather.
Right.
I got caught out in it a little bit,
yeah.
but
I was right out in the middle of it.
when I was driving home, I remember looking out of the window, like one eye open, driving home. I was with Wayne, and I could just hear the rain hitting the car, and I was just thinking, wow, like people are out in that.
Yes, I was.
Like, I just thought, oh my god, because when we was really high up, like coming over the Cam Road and the Cam High Road, I think it's called. As we was dropping down into Hartwell, it was like like a blizzard up there. It was like high up, the temperature dropped. It was like snowing. It was bad, but it wasn't too bad. But then when you dropped out of that to lower level, coming into Hawes, it just went to that horrible, cold, wet 2-degree rain.
Yeah.
And it wasn't raining. It was raining enough, but it wasn't raining that hard. It was like when I got to Hardrow, I just about had enough. And then I went and got changed. And something to eat, driving home, and then the torrential rain came, the stuff that was like blowing horizontally sideways, and that's when I thought, wow, like I'm so glad I thought I had it bad.
Yeah.
I thought then
I was still out in that.
Do you know what was funny though? And I started telling you the other day, I could have sworn you came legging it past me.
Yeah, well, that's
down Penny again.
You'd said that.
And he was shouting, "Go on, Kevin!"
On
and
Facebook, you thought I'd blanked you or something, coming down Penny again. But I was behind you.
And I just thought, "Is that for you?" Listen, this guy was absolutely tunning it down Penny again, and I thought, "How the hell is he doing that? Why is Kevin at like mile 100 just come to life like that?" I thought he's on fire.
Yeah. I was one of the last people over Penn again before they stopped people going over it because of the ice.
Did you manage to get over it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was like.
Yeah.
I think I must have been in about 12th position then when I came over it, but it was cold. I don't think it got any better, did it?
Yeah.
They diverted people around it, I believe.
Yeah. Like I say, there was only one or two after me before they diverted people.
Was it dark when you went over it? Yeah. I think it was about.
Well, it's kind of weird because it was dark and white out.
Yeah, so but it was like,
it's like
torch blinding
is it white or is it black? It was just miserable. It was really, really tough.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But we've both signed up for January, haven't we?
I've not actually signed up yet. I feel as though
I
if I signed up and I paid and it was all on paper, I've got a funny feeling like I might jinx myself or something with injury. So I kind of like I'm going to wait, and all being well, I've got all intentions of doing it again.
Yeah.
Try and have a successful attempt at it this time.
Yeah, I think you think similar to myself. I mean, compared to the only other person I know well who's done it, I did it a lot faster than he did. But for me, it wasn't a success because it wasn't the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah, the way you wanted it.
Where I went off too fast, ended up really knackered, in a lot of pain, and then hobbled to the finish.
Yeah,
that's not the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah, it's not the way you envisaged it, is it? Yeah. Same,
I want to go back and unfinished business.
Yeah, unfinished business. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. What have you been up to since then?
Since then, I had. So that was like mid-January. I had a couple of weeks off. And then I started just like plodding about again, just basically finding myself again.
Yep.
That's what you need to do. I lost my mojo for about a month, a good month. I put a lot of weight on. Felt sorry for myself, and I just like you just get that overall sense of tiredness, don't you? Like I went back to work. I was struggling a little bit, and then found my mojo again. So then I thought, right, what can I do this year? Like, what races shall I do? So that would have been February-ish. Yeah, and then I decided that I wanted to do the UK Skyrunning series. So that's like a series of 3 races. Mm-hmm. So there's Magoo Skyrunner. They do like the World Skyrunning series.
Right. But
then they also have a couple of races like that's like the UK version of it. It's I don't know if I'm using the right words. It's established by them. It's recognised as the Skyrunner organise it basically. Mm-hmm. But there's 3 races or a couple of races. There's a couple of weekends which they have in the UK. So that's England, Scotland, and Ireland.
Right.
The first race of the year was the Lake Skye Ultra, which is in the Lake District. Mm-hmm. And then on that same weekend, by the same organisers, you've got the Scarfell Sky Race. If you did any one of them races, you get points for the UK Sky Running series. It's like a league table. The second race is up in Scotland. It's the Glencoe Skyline. I can't remember. Also, on that weekend, you've also got a couple of other races going on. You've got the Ben Nevis Ultra again. You've got the Ring of Steel. You've got the Glencoe Skyline, and then you've got the Mamors VK. And I think out of them 4 races, you either have to do the Glencoe Skyline or the Ring of Steel race. If you do any one of them 2, you again get points for the UK Sky Running Series. And then the third race is over in Ireland. It's the Garmin Mourne Skyline race. So I've done the Lake Sky Ultra. I've got Glencoe in 3 weeks, and depending on how well I do in the Glencoe one, like I put a fair bit of effort into the Lake Sky. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the training. I enjoyed the build up. I had a cracking race. Didn't go perfectly how I wanted it. I mean, there's just minor problems like cramp. It sent me back a couple of hours. So I could have positioned myself a lot higher. A lot of effort in, did really well. But after I did it, I got that post race blues again that most people get. And even though I didn't get them as bad as what I've had them in the past, I've got a lot on it. Like, obviously we're not professional runners, are we? We're just average people, so we've all got jobs, we've all got lives, kids, family, other things going on. And I think the amount of effort that I put in for the Sky Race, I just couldn't sustain it. Or what I did put in, it kind of took a lot out of me. So after the Sky Race now, when I'm training for Glencoe, I just can't put the same kind of effort in. I've not got that fire that I had. So I've kind of took a step back a little bit. And I'm thinking, I don't know, but I've got 3 weeks left now, so I don't know whether to keep on backing off and just go into it relaxed and just see what happens, just have fun. 'Cause at the end of the day, like I said, we're not professionals, are we? We just do it for the fun and the love of it.
And to be honest, any training you do in the next 3 weeks isn't, unless you do something.
It's my diet and the weight I'm putting on my
exactly. Unless you dramatically put on weight, or you're dramatic, unless you do something really dramatic one way or another, it's not going to affect you.
Yeah, exactly.
On these.
But my training, I haven't backed off. It's been really good. I've managed to keep to my training plan. For me, it's everyone will say you always talk about weight in your diet, and for me that really is the hardest thing for me. I'm over 15 stone now.
Wow.
It's hard, it's very hard lugging that kind of weight about, especially up the mountains. And I just think to myself, if you could just get down to 13 stone. I mean, when I did Lake Sky, I was 14 stone, and people were saying you look too skinny, like your face is really gaunt and stuff. And
I've got all this skin on my face from the amount of weight I've lost since I started running.
But I can handle that. I'd rather run better than look worse. That made me happy. I'm not bothered about what my face looks like. So people weren't insulting me or anything, but people were just saying that I was, I didn't look like myself, if you know what I mean. So after the race, and I kind of backed off a little bit, and I've been eating how I like to eat. And I put another I put about 11 pounds on, so I'll be going into the Glencoe Sky 11 pounds heavier, but a bit more relaxed. So do you know what, it might not really. I'm just thinking in these next 3 weeks now, what'll be more important than anything is getting, I've been working a lot of hours, so I'm thinking if I just get a lot of my rest in, de-stress a little bit, relax, stick to my training plan, eat well, sleep, and I think I might not do any worse than what I did at the
have you come across the concept of diet quality score?
No, what's that?
It's an interesting idea, and it's something that's worked for me. Different things work for different people. It works for me when I'm about to go for the biscuits or something else, in that rather than counting calories, which I hate doing, and I've very rarely done, because I find counting calories and looking at exactly how much you eat very depressing, and so I really don't like to do it. I like to stay very positive.
It depresses me when I've had about 4,000 calories in one evening.
But then you go out for a run which burns off 3,000.
It's a good job I do all the miles I do, because otherwise I'd be a little
one of the key things about diet quality score is that you get plus points for eating good things and negative points for eating bad things.
Yeah.
And so you don't necessarily have to add it up really accurately all the time. You can get an app on your phone if you want to do it accurate. But what it helped me with was, like, I'm going to get a biscuit and I'm thinking, like, I don't want to eat this. My body's telling, that the kind of naughty voice in my head saying, eat that, you want it. But I'm trying to stop myself from doing it. And then with the diet quality score, you really kind of get rewarded points wise for eating different things. So like dairy's good for you unless you have many portions of dairy.
Yeah.
So I generally hit the top end on dairy because I like cheese and I like
eat a lot
eggs.
of dairy.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm going for a snack, I'm thinking, right, I can't have another yogurt. I can't, I've got to stay away from that. But then it started reminding me about things like nuts, which are really good for you.
Yeah.
And I was hardly eating any before. So then I'm thinking, right, okay, instead of having a biscuit, I'll have a handful of nuts. And you never get a negative score for fruit. And like raw veg, you can eat as much as you want forever. It's never negative. And it was just little things like that, because the more times you do it and give yourself that positive reward cycle, because again, it doesn't say you never have a biscuit, so you don't have that barrier. But it's like, because I mean, like dark chocolates, if it's a reasonable sized piece of dark chocolate, that's a +1, whereas something like really healthy is going to be a +2. But a piece of dark chocolate is a +1. So if you have 2 pieces, that's 0.
With you,
but it's quite a healthy way of kind of playing that game with yourself.
Good mental approach. Based on points.
And it helped me to break some habits.
It's almost like a game, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just kind of playing a game with myself because it was never a case then of you can't have anything, because you can't keep that up unless you got amazing willpower, in which case you're not having this conversation. No, exactly. But at least it just gives you, I found anyway, it just gave me another option, and it helped me less often eat the stuff I shouldn't be eating. So that might be something worth looking at.
To think of what I've like. I'll give you an example of what I've eaten today. I had a protein yogurt at about 6 a.m. Also put 5. I get up at 5 every day. So I had a protein yogurt about 6 a.m. I had another protein yogurt about 8 a.m. So I took 2 yogurts out of the fridge to work with me. That's all I had in my cash card. I had 2 protein yogurts, and then I went to Lidl at about 10:30 in the morning. I got a cheese layered salad bowl. What else did I get? I got like these protein balls. They're pre-made in a pack. They've got like bits of nuts and seeds in them and stuff like that, full of fibre and protein. I think they're like veggie alternatives to having meat, if you like. So I had a couple of they made of goji berries and got all seeds, and they're quite tasty. So I had a pack of them. I had a honey and walnut. I went to Lidl, so it was like a Polish a yogurt drink, honey and walnut. I had one of them. This is all in one sitting, so it's probably about 1,000 calories in that lot. I had that at like 10:30 in the morning. I cracked on working for a few more hours. Then for my dinner I had I got a packet of salmon, vacuum packed salmon, ready cooked. So I pulled the skin off it and made just a plain wrap with a piece of salmon inside it. So I had that for my dinner. It's not too bad, is it? Pretty healthy. And then what did I have after that then?
So you're missing the easy way to kind of fill yourself up, and that's
water.
Salad. You whack some salad in that wrap.
Yeah, it would have bulked it up a bit.
It bulks it up. You get the vitamins. It helps with your injuries.
I'm really lazy, like just getting that bowl of salad and having to, because when I pull it out, it goes all over my van. Like it's pieces of sweet corn on the floor. Then it starts smelling.
I mean, it's one of my advantages of working from home is I've got a full kitchen right there. It's advantage and disadvantage, because also all the sweets and cakes that the kids have are right there as well.
We have a salmon wrap, and then I've had another packet of those balls, the protein balls, and then I had a banana in a wrap. Obviously I bought a brand new full packet of wraps. There's like 8 wraps. So these packet of wraps just sat there in the van. So I got a banana, put it on the wrap, and I've got some of this. It's like calorie free chocolate sauce, caramel and chocolate sauce.
I don't need
had a banana and chocolate wrap. That like cured my sweet tooth craving. So I had that on the way here. alongside another one of those packet of them balls.
These wraps are the white ones or whole wheat?
They are white with seeds in. That's the best I could find. I do like the whole meal ones, but they didn't have any in stock, so I just got like the seeded ones. So unless you're doing like a high intensity work, you're best off eating white bread and white stuff after some sort of intense exercise, aren't you? I've heard.
Yeah, or during.
Or during, yeah.
The processed sugars and processed carbs, they're going to spike your insulin levels. Yeah. But if you have them basically while your body's still burning, which like you say immediately after or whatever, your body's just burning stuff as well as during, they're not really going to do you any harm. But that's one of the big changes I made. I already kind of knew the idea that your whole wheat and is going to be much better, your complex carbohydrates rather than the processed ones. But making that switch is what allowed me to then start upping my distance and having the energy to do it.
Yeah.
I've actually after the Spine race my weight dropped because understandably then I came back up and then like down slightly, and it's been almost completely level since. So I feel like I've got a good balance with my diet. I'd lost a lot of weight last year, but I find that if I'm losing weight I feel more niggles and injuries and stuff. It's kind of like I'm just not feeding myself enough. And I seem to have found a nice balance at the moment where I'm not being too strict with what I eat, so I'm feeling quite relaxed and happy with it. I'm not putting weight on.
I know what you're saying.
So it's trying to find that balance. It's really hard to get, because like you say, with the distances and the amount of exercise that we do, you've got to feed your body. Yeah,
of course you have. It's putting the right stuff in it.
It's just trying to put the right stuff in.
Yeah, but apart from up until this last couple of weeks, I've been since getting on a bit of a downer since after the Spine, which was February, March, April, May, June, July, August. For a good 6 or 7 months I managed to maintain a good regular. I floated around about 14.5. I dropped the extra half a stone just to make the race a lot easier for the Lake Skye, and then I've just not been able to sustain it, and I think it's had the adverse effects of me.
I'm around 12 stone, by the way.
It's alright for saying it.
I was up to about. I was heading towards 15 stone though before I started running.
I think my ideal, I'd look if I could get down to 13.5. I think I would look.
I mean, you're not as tall as me, but you're built a lot more. So. I am starting to think I've got to work out a bit more on my upper body. It's starting to fade away completely. There wasn't much there to start with.
I'm thinking of after these 3 races, having a good month off. Before I start prepping for the Spine again. And I'm not going to do what I did last year. I think I was after finishing the Ben Nevis Ultra, I was pretty much prepped. All I had to do was start doing a lot of long distance hiking, I think, with my parks, just get used to it. But what I did is I just literally drove myself into the ground. I was doing like silly back-to-back long runs, week in, week out, midweek, the lot. I just well overtrained.
I'd pushed myself too far. I ended up, that's how I met the physio that helped me out afterwards. The Tuesday before we were starting the race on the Saturday, I went to see a physio saying, I've got a 100-mile race on Saturday and I can't really walk properly. Can you help me out? So it was a bit of an emergency session, but actually worked. That injury didn't come back during the race.
I think the plan's going to be after these 3 races, hit the gym for a couple of months, focus more on I won't say my physique, but lifting. Just have a bit of time off running. Still run, but when I want to, and not have a plan to stick to. And then
I had a nice time in July. I went out to the Alps and did.
I've seen your pictures.
Mountaineer and I did a bit of running out there because you've got to. It's
be rude not to.
It'd be rude not to. But I only had 3 runs in a week or something, and mostly it was. And the longest of those was only sort of 12k or something. But
it's a different world out there. It's lovely.
But hiking up big mountains with a decent weight on your back,
It's just as good, isn't it?
I've come back and started running and just set new PBs all over the place.
Because of that extra, it's like that.
And you're motivated again because you've had a break from it, so you want to get back to stuff. And
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's good. So I guess that all starts to bring us around to Whitworth and the
God's country.
Well, I have to say it's the first time I've run over there because I came along to help you out by checking the flags before the race. So
yep, thanks very much for that.
Myself and Sue ran the whole marathon route on Sunday morning in the rain.
Did you enjoy it?
I did. It's actually it's a really nice route.
Yeah.
It just happened as I'd mentioned that I was up in Scotland with the family immediately before, and if I was going to race the marathon, I'd actually want to have most of that week off to rest.
Yeah, definitely.
But I had a chance to run in a place where I never normally have a chance to run, and I didn't want to not run that week.
Yeah, so it's just a good opportunity.
So it was ideal that I could go and run the route, but actually not be racing.
That's
it.
Yeah,
it worked really well for me.
Yeah.
Clearly did a bad job because a couple of your competitors got lost.
I think the route got tampered with after.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know. I think you'd put the last of the flags out at 4 a.m. or something.
Yeah, I got back to my car at like 6 a.m. I set off at 3 a.m. Got up at 2 a.m. Set off at 3 a.m. to mark the second half of the course, and I got back to my car at about 6:15.
Yeah,
I had to quickly dash home, get a shower, and get back up to the event centre to meet you.
We must have got there at about 11 a.m. and flags had been deliberately moved.
Definitely,
because Sue and I ran off in the wrong direction, following flags that then ran out.
Yeah, exactly.
And we then found some bent up.
So
yeah, I mean, it's one of the things about that people probably don't think about with when you organise an event.
That was my main fear.
Yeah,
that was why I did it in the second half of the morning.
You actually amazingly have people out there that are maliciously tampering with stuff.
I can't believe it. It's just like, why would you do that?
I know.
What a setup.
Yeah, it's just I have to say, because like I say, Sue and I that ran to check the flags, we'd never ran there before, either of us. We didn't know the route.
Yeah.
Now, we did have a map and things with us because we're trying to check that it was marked out correctly.
Yeah.
But we were trying to run it without looking at the map, because if we could, we were confident that everybody else could.
Yeah.
And we thought it was really well marked.
Yeah.
There was the one section when the marshals weren't there because we were going round early and we had to stop and look at the map.
I remembered
yeah.
As soon as you set off, I thought,
yeah.
I didn't tell them that I'm not marked part of it, because when the actual race is on, there'll be marshals there, but when they get there'll be no marshals, so they're not going to know where to go. And when I looked at Strava, that's the only bit you got that you deviate. That is the only bit that you've not run.
That's right. So other than that, which was then there was the bit that was tampered with. Everything else was really, really good. And
you said the bit that I was worried about, you said was relatively okay.
Yeah, there was a section you were worried about going into the forest, but I think that's because you had marked it in the dark.
Yeah.
And in the dark, it wouldn't have been clear. But
what
in the daylight,
I was using plenty of markers before that, so when I had to scrimp on them, I thought, oh no, I'm not gonna. Did you put some extra ones down there?
We put some extra ones. One of the ones we placed is because in the middle of the path there was like a metal rod sticking up.
Did you take them away from that in case they fell on it or something?
Well, there was no option to take them away from it, so we just marked it with a flag.
Right, yeah, just
so that you could see it, because it was one of these awful. It's like a remains of an old fence post or something. You can't take it out of the ground. There was nowhere to move them around it, so we just marked it so you could see it. And
it's just amazing. Like the first half,
because you wouldn't have seen it in the dark.
No problems. There was no problems with the first half of the course, and because that's just kind of the half of the valley I live on, and I know it's like nobody's ever out up there apart from the odd dog walker, and I couldn't imagine them ever wanting to tamper with it. But I do know the other half of the valley is full of it's quite busy. There's a lot of mountain bikers, motorcyclists, hikers. If I could be kind of what's the right word, stereotypical. And I had to choose between the mountain bikers, the motorbikers, and the dog walkers, or the farmers. I'd put my money on the farmers, but I don't think I think it's the mountain bikers, because the motorbikers, I think it's a bit of a big effort to stop your motorbike, turn it off, put your stand down, get off it, and move 3 markers. If you're on a mountain bike, you have to literally, you can just put your bike down quick on the floor and move them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
no idea who it was, but it was.
I might cause a bit of uproar.
Yeah,
mountain bike.
I mean,
I'm nothing against mountain bikers, but
like I say, from the marking, we could see the effort that had been put in to make it a great race, and it's a really nice route. I'm really pleased that I came over and ran the route. It was fantastic to come over and run somewhere that really good quality trails all the way around. We found lots of markers that the sheep had been chewing.
Yeah, a few people said that. We need to. I don't know.
They must be quite tasty markers, but at least they were still just lying on the ground where they should be.
Yeah,
a little less obvious, but they were in the right places anyway.
Yeah. I think next year we'll get a couple more 100 markers. Have a few more marshals out on the course. Kind of patrolling in the areas where we think they might get tampered with, and kind of maybe deter people from moving the markers. And obviously if people do manage to move the markers when a marshal's not present, at least if the marshals are patrolling, they can kind of like put the marker back where it should be and prevent people from taking a wrong turn. But I think I was really happy with how it went, even though people did take the wrong turn, because even though they did take the wrong turns, they still managed to find their way back to the event centre, and they mentioned it when they got back, but we've not had one negative review, I don't think.
I heard a lot of very positive comments. I really enjoyed hanging around. I saw most of the certainly the front runners of the marathon coming in, and was because I was not doing any official job at that time, I could just walk around and chat with people, which was really nice. Heard a lot of positive comments about it. So how long were you working on it ahead of the event?
Do you know what? It's strange. Like, before I was an ambassador for Team Aware, I had kind of toyed with the idea. My brother messaged me saying, like, would you like, could you and me kind of make a business up together? Like, what would you like to do? Like, with what I do for my job at the minute, gas engineer, and underground mains and utilities, it was kind of saying to me, do you not want to kind of go on your own, me and you, we start a company up, you do the work, and my brother can kind of find the work, basically, and we'll kind of start a business up together. And I kind of shook my head and said it'd be too hard. There's too many people out there. We've not got enough money to kind of do it. I kind of dismissed it. And what I did propose to him is that we kind of like, I said what I would like to do is I said I could maybe start like a trail running group or some sort of package holiday, or maybe make some races up, make an events company. And he didn't reply. So I kind of thought, oh well, you don't want to do that. But then I always had this thought lingering in my head. I thought to myself, I've got so many good routes that I could do, and I kind of, every time I went out running, I was kind of thinking to myself, this could be a really good race route, this. So I kind of got all these, and I've still got so many more in my head that I could make into great races. So it's not the end of it, I don't think. It's the start of something new, I think.
I would definitely say, having run the route, it is a runner's route. You can tell a runner's put that route together.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of, you can tell it's been well thought out. It's kind of all my it's kind of sections of all my little mini loops. Mini loops that I love to do. I've took the best out of them all and combined this one route that's my favourite, if you know what I mean. And I've just had to play with it over this couple of runs to get the distance right.
Yes.
But I've still never run the full route myself. I've run it all in bits and parts, but I've never ever run the full route myself. I'm down for doing 25 miles this weekend, but it's just not hilly and technical enough. But I'm dying to just get out there and do it, just to say I've done it. So I want to know what kind of time I'd do it in as well, and like kind of put myself as to where I would have been on the day. There's a couple. I'd say we kind of spoke about doing the event in about February to March.
Right.
So we've had a good 5 to 6 months of solid work, but prior to that, I'd been thinking about it for at least 12 months. So maybe, 6 months of serious work, and then maybe 12 months of pondering on it.
Yeah.
2 years maybe, possibly. I
that's...
think. But, it's not as...
No,
it's
that's what I would expect, because
Yeah.
I've seen a little bit behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of people might not realise sort of how long it takes to...
You kind
to
of
get
like
these
put
things
things
put
off, you
together.
kind of think to
Yeah.
yourself, because obviously it's not my only job, I've got other things to be
Yes.
doing, and like,
But then
you
obviously
kind of
you've-
push this
yeah.
event to the back of the list, but really it should be a priority, and then as the event comes closer it becomes more of a priority.
Yeah.
And then it starts getting stressful, and then you start getting worried, and then you start like thinking about it in bed at night, and then you don't get any sleep, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, you looked a little nervous on Sunday morning. I have to
I
say.
was absolutely bricking it. My main, I knew everything else was in place. My main fear was one runner going wrong. And have you seen that game Lemmings, where there's like one at the front and then you all
And everybody
run off a
follows.
cliff, and then all the rest of them follow it? You're like just one runner taking a wrong turn, and then the rest of them following, and just having so many negative
Yeah.
comments when they come back saying, "Oh, that was, it was awful. We got lost." And when I heard that a couple of runners had gone wrong because people moved the flags on the course, I was really disappointed. It really worried me. But when they kept coming back, and they wasn't really dwelling on it, and it was like, it was a really nice route, and I was like, oh, you know what, I can live with that. I can get over it, and next year we can improve on it and sort it out. But yeah, I was really nervous on the morning.
Yeah. So in the end, you put the event together with an experienced team.
Yeah.
Sort of like, I guess, in partnership. Would that be the right way of saying it? So
Was it all mine? It was like, was it all my doing? I was like the brainchild of the route and stuff like that, but we still have a hell of a lot of help from Team Away.
Yeah, because that's the thing that would concern me about remembering it's all the little details. I mean, I've organised like training events for mountain rescue, which is not exactly the same but similar, because you've got to get all the landowners' permission.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to make sure you've got exactly the right permissions depending on the type of places you're in, because it's all very different. In some places you really need to speak to the right individual, in other places it doesn't matter, and there's years of experience behind getting these things right, because again, you hear horror stories about races that have been so badly organised that the companies that organised them went bankrupt and things like that. It's
kind of ended them, hasn't it?
I think it's that side of things that I think a lot of people probably don't even imagine exists.
Exactly.
Like I say, I've seen a little bit of it with some of the other things I've done. I've not organised a race as such, but organised a few other things, and I think hopefully you had some good support and guidance around those matters.
Yeah, definitely.
I presume there must be insurance involved and things like this. And
there's insurance, speaking to like landowners and speaking to like Team Away and just seeing like what they've done in previous events, and you kind of know from the experience that they've got like what you can do, what you can't do, where you can go, where you can't go. So also that's what was kind of holding me back when I was first thinking about doing a race. Like I didn't know where to begin. It was like, it just seemed so daunting, so much hard work.
And then you had the golf club as the
that was an
sort of event
awesome
centre.
event centre. It was really well
they
set
seemed
up for
really good.
The
The lady who's the manager there seemed very, very supportive.
Claire, she was really good. They've got an event on there anyway called the Whitworth Skyline Walk. It's a 14-mile walk. It's just a hike for like, I don't know if it's for charity or whether it's just for fun, or it's not an LDWA event. It's just like one of the local events that we've got. It's probably the biggest event that we've got in the village. I think she told me that they accommodated up to 400 walkers on the last one, so it dwarfed the trail marathon. But I'm hoping that next year we might kind of get up to the same kind of numbers as that, and maybe one day.
Well, I've certainly.
It'd be like a really big iconic event for the village where everyone's kind of like waiting for this one day of the year to make a bit of money out of it, bring some people to the village.
20 or 30 years time, it could be like.
I might have a little wooden plaque on.
Yeah.
Up in Whitworth.
Yeah, I was talking to Clark about the Western States and how the whole town is, everyone there is really focused.
It's fixated on this
fixated
one
on it.
yeah.
You can build it up like that. It'll only take you 20 or 30
funny.
years.
I can't see it, but that'd be,
No.
be pretty funny. Like if I could, if there's like such thing as a heaven or whatever, and you've got an afterlife, it'd be funny looking down and thinking, wow, I do make a bit of an impression back in the day, and everyone's kind of having a good time out of this event. That'd be nice, but we'll just have to see what happens, won't we?
But yeah, it was a good event. So
yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So what's your thinking now? Are you going to look at? I mean, I already know that this is going to go ahead again next year. So that's
next year,
that's the first part of success, isn't it?
Yeah, going to go ahead with next year's.
And is it including an ultra distance next year?
Yeah, we've been pondering.
I've seen those rumours.
Yeah, I think there was always going to happen. It was just we wanted to just kind of like see how we got on with this first event and see.
Yeah, that's sensible too.
See how it went on.
Yeah,
we were kind of discussing as to like what distance to do the ultra at. I had all sorts of random numbers going through my head: 60, 50, 40.
Yeah, I mean, partly it also depends on what's a nice way to extend the route as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, without kind of overstressing yourself again, and you can always build up and up and up and up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I think now next year's event we're going to go with. We're going to start off at the bottom and do a 50k.
Yep.
Which is about 31 miles, is it?
31 miles.
31 miles, yeah. So, and I think that's a nice little number because it's a step up from a marathon.
Yeah.
It's at the bottom of the ladder for the ultra marathon. With it being a Sunday event as well, you wouldn't really want anything. I don't know. I can't remember the date off the top of my head as to what it's on next year, but I don't know if it's going to land on a Sunday again. But I'm assuming that it'll be a Sunday because this year's was a Sunday.
Yeah, I'm reliably informed it's going to be a Sunday again.
Well, okay, Sunday it is then. So you don't really want to be doing like a lot of people. I'm not saying that we wouldn't get any people entering it, but if the longer distance you go on a Sunday, the more chance people are going to have to take a day off work on the Monday.
Yeah.
That factor puts people off wanting to do a long race on a Sunday. So I think we'll stick off with doing the 50k, 31 miles on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It makes it easier for me to just find a bit of an extra loop to add on to the.
Yeah, well,
I already said course.
Yeah, I haven't decided exactly which big events I'm doing next year, but I'll probably find room for a 50k
Squeeze
around that kind of date. Yeah,
squeeze it in.
Yeah,
I think I might do it.
So are you thinking of adding any more races to your repertoire, or are you sticking with this one for now? Or?
I think
there's a sparkle in the eyes.
Yeah, I've got a couple of ideas.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a lot of that route, the Whitworth Trail Marathon. A lot of it's fell.
Yeah.
A lot of it's fell. But I'm not. Even though I've done fell races and I know what fell running is, I'm not one of them hardcore fell runners, and I would hate to piss all the fell runners off and call it a fell race and get all the. That's not a fell race. It's half fell. It's half trail. It's So
I think
I'm going to do my research, and I'd like to maybe make out of the most dominant part of the course, which will be fell. Get a fell run going. That'd be good.
Yeah.
I had a chat with Wayne, and he's looking at kind of getting on to the FRA coaching or something like that next year. I think he's told me. So it'd be nice to just find out a bit more of what makes a fell run, and there's all these categories and stuff like that for distances, and maybe how much elevation you get and how much navigation is required. So they have like codes, like I've seen an A, L or a C, Cat C, or they have all that abbreviations. So it's quite complicated.
I've seen those, but
so I didn't really want to.
I've only done a few proper fell races myself. Similar to yourself, I like to just go out and
quite
run,
complex.
And you sometimes find out there where you've run, it's technically fell running, but there we go.
So we have to find out what
category. In the hills and enjoying yourself,
it'd be a fully marked one. I won't like to have one where people are self-navigating. It just adds to the organising of it all and stuff. And I'd probably have it a fully marked course again, a shorter route, say maybe 8-9 miles. Get as much elevation in it as possible. Just find a right tough route. I'm also toying with having Friday night mystery races where we advertise it. It's kind of like underground.
Yeah.
It just gets released on a Monday. Say, look, we're going to put a race on this Friday. I'm not telling you how far it is, but we'll tell you it will not be no more than.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting way of doing it, because one of the things I've noticed is there's so many of the sort of best kind of local races are so popular now. They get fully booked immediately.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of crazy that they still try to be just a local friendly race, because we all love local friendly races and we want to support them, and now they get fully booked, like so 6 months in advance, and it's kind of like, well, it's just a little race. My big races I can plan 6 months in advance, but the little ones that you see, you just kind of, oh, that's happening Friday, I want to go and do that.
Well, I don't know any races that run on a Friday. Like, I get to Friday sometimes, and like I say, I don't really. When I say I don't drink anymore, I do, but very rarely. So all my friends are going out on Lash, and I'm just sat there thinking, what can I do tonight? And
so some
something
Friday
to do
night races through the winter would be great.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. All year round.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just kind of like announce it unexpectedly,
it's
get everyone
different
excited.
Different style of race between summer and winter. But
you used to have these illegal raves, and they just kind of there was just certain people got invited, but not just invite certain people, but just kind of release them. A week before, 2 weeks before, and just tell people the location. Don't tell them the distance or the route, but just tell them it will be off-road, it will be trail.
I think you need to let people know it's going to be under 20 miles or it's going to be under 15
That's it,
miles.
tell them the maximum
big
it can
idea,
be.
because that's when
you don't want to turn up and be told it's a marathon.
No, exactly. That's when I
something.
decided that I could probably call myself a decent runner, when people were inviting me along to join them for a run in the hills, and I'm saying, as long as it's less than 20 miles, I'll just rock up. If it's less than 30 miles, just give us a bit of notice, I'll bring the right kit. And that's when you think, okay, I must, if you can be relaxed about just rocking up with people you don't really know, and as long as it's less than 20 miles, let's go for it.
You don't get much notice on the 20. Like, most people are like, what, you're nuts, you run? Like, every time I go to the barbers, I'll be chatting to him, and you can't help but tell everybody in the barbers. Every time we go in, he asks me, how far was that race you did in January? And he's like looking at everyone going, he did blah 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 this January. Then he goes, how far are you doing today? And I say, well, I did, if we're going on a Sunday, I'll say I did my long run yesterday, it was about 20 mile, and everyone's like, what, you ran 20 mile yesterday? And I'm like, yeah, 20 miles, it's a nice round even number.
It's when you start doing those kind of between training, you just want to keep the body ticking over. I'm going to go for a steady 20 miler.
Like, for us it's nothing, but other people it's like, Jesus Christ.
It's great fun.
People must think we're nuts.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Definitely nuts.
So I guess a classic kind of question when you're talking to people about things, what would you say to anybody else who's thinking of being a race director for the first time? What advice would you give them? Or
start writing everything down and getting everything in order. I mean, it's common sense, isn't it? Get everything in order, get everything wrote down, your volunteers, your timings, plan it to a like military style regime, like write it all down, but like to a T well before, because I kind of like left it last minute and I kind of stressed myself out a little bit. I had a lot on at work, and the last thing I wanted to do when I got home at 8 or 9 o'clock at night is start writing things down. I just wanted to get in bed and chill out. So I kind of kept putting it off, and then it just come back to bite me in the arse. I mean, I did alright on the day, like, but on next year's event I'll be making sure basically don't take on too much the month before it. Kind of focus on nothing but your event, and just go over and over it, write it all down, and that's all you can do really, and just make sure that nothing can go wrong, and if it does go wrong, just have some kind of backup plan. Maybe have more volunteers and less, don't try to have just the right amount of people. Have some backups, because you'll be guaranteed that the odd person might let you down. I was lucky enough to have nobody let me down on the day, so it doesn't always happen, but I think it will happen in future. I mean,
it's probably
not because they wanted it to happen, just things
probably,
pop up.
Probably worth saying something we've discussed a couple of times on this podcast that volunteers are awesome.
yeah. Like you say, without the volunteers, the event wouldn't have happened.
No, exactly. Yeah. No, and I know is one of the people that volunteered. It's great fun.
Yeah.
Volunteering.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Said before, I'll say it again. I always wish I had more time to volunteer on more events.
That's it. Yeah, I do enjoy volunteering.
It is really enjoyable.
It's rewarding, isn't it?
Volunteering, especially when you get the chance to run and volunteer. It's great.
What's your favourite time you've ever volunteered? Which is your favourite event you volunteered at? You don't. I wasn't asking you.
That's fine. It's a good question. It's probably actually one that I unofficially volunteered on, because I still kind of see it slightly as volunteering, because it was just such a fun experience. And that was when the summer version of the Spine was on, the Flare Fusion. I was due to go out for a long run that day, so I got my wife to drop me off on Snake Pass. And I was a little bit early for the runners coming through, so I ran towards Kinder, stopped and photographed all the front runners coming through until I was about mid-pack, and then because I was only doing a short run compared to them, I could run faster, and I run back through the pack chatting with people along the way, and wishing them well and cheering them on. And like I say, it was kind of unofficial volunteering, because if I'd been more organised I could have gone and volunteered on one of the checkpoints.
I know what
or
you're saying,
handed out some drinks or something. But it was supporting the race, running along with the runners, and that was really good. Really good fun.
Enjoyed it.
Yeah, but I guess same set of races. The reason I ended up running the Spine race is because the year before I volunteered at the Mountain Rescue checkpoint, handing out cups of tea.
Right. Which one was it?
It was the Brun Clough one.
Yeah, which one you mean?
What a big tent up the year before, and was actually one of the guys who was there again this year. Duncan Buchanan from Borders Mountain Rescue Team. He was doing the full Spine last year. He was back on the MR Challenge this year, and he sat in there having something to eat and had a chat, and just that was it. I was hooked.
You're doing it. So, you got roped in.
yeah. But even like the volunteering I've done at Parkrun, even that's great.
Yeah.
I found that as you get faster, what you can do is you can actually run your parkrun and then go and scan people, because there's not that many people through ahead of you, so they don't need that many people scanning.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
You can do your run and then scan. Yeah. So I've done a little bit of that, but yeah, I'd like to volunteer more, but it's only so many hours in the day.
It's a fun one
because it's the commitment as well. That's which is why actually I was able to volunteer for yours, because you asked almost last minute, and so it worked out. If you'd asked a month earlier for somebody, I'd have had to say no, because I couldn't commit. Because I didn't know when I was getting back from Scotland. But because you asked at just the right time, where I could then commit. So that's the other thing. So it's like you're saying about the last minute announcing races. Sometimes that works because you can't always. I certainly can't always.
My kind of life's like that. I can never kind of give anybody a straight answer until at the time, exactly. So
people
ask me too much and they want an answer. Sometimes I'll just say no because I don't know.
Because the last thing you'd want to do is volunteer and have somebody relying on you, and then things change and you can't do it. And
so you just have to say no sometimes to be kind, don't you?
Yeah. So I think that's. I always like finishing off on something sort of inclusive and positive like that, like talking about volunteering and things. So it's probably a good place to end this. This podcast, this chat. And you'll be surprised how long we've talked for. So thanks.
Got 10 miles to go on now.
I know. So cheers Howard for having a chat. Hopefully it's interesting for people hearing about the first experience of being a run director, because it's not something that gets talked about a lot. So I think the last podcast I listened to specifically from a run director was John Steele, so you might not be quite up to his level yet. But, give it 6 months or so, you'll be there.
Cheers Kevin, thank you.
Thank you for listening to Running Your Stories. Just a little blurb at the end here to remind you that We're putting this out on iTunes podcasts. It's also on Podbean. We have a Facebook page, Running Your Stories on Facebook. Please like the page, follow us there. And we're also on YouTube. So you can watch the videos or you can listen to the podcasts, whichever is your preference. And shortly we'll also push this through into the Google Play Store for those people on Android. So we're trying to be as accessible as possible. We try to support all types of running. We support all types of runners. We're enthusiastic, interested, and we like to encourage you. So please give us some feedback, give us some likes, give us some ratings. We're very interested to hear from you. Thank you very much. Please listen to the next episode, which will be coming up soon. Thanks. Bye.